Hello, welcome to The Healing Artist. I'm your host, Frida. And today, friends, we are so lucky to be joined with Tania Teodor. She is a spiritual mentor and energy work facilitator who travels the world living life as an ongoing initiation. Originally from Romania, her work is deeply rooted in the ancestral wisdom and folk traditions her lineage has carried through generations. Through her teachings and energy work, she bridges ancient remembrance with modern transformation, guiding others into embodied, grounded spirituality and soulful, sovereign leadership. Welcome, Tania, to the Healing Artist.
Hey, hey, thank you for having me. Really, really honored.
Oh, we met, I guess, through threads, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have a mystery school, and I think you were doing an outreach. Did you want to have guest speakers? And I applied, and you said yes. And it was such an honor to share and do that.
Yeah, it was such a great session, and we are really grateful that you honored our invitation. I do love collaboration, and I think it's an essential part of new paradigms and new ways of being that we are discovering and also creating now. So, yeah, I'm very thankful for this. And I do believe that the online world gives us this great opportunity to connect with people all around the world and form these meaningful connections.
Yeah, I have met so many other amazing, fully embodied spiritual women, especially women. I haven't met any men, but I think my path is usually womb-centered women. But so many, like through this podcast and through just peeking around online. It's amazing.
Yes, I believe it's a movement that started a while ago, but it's getting more and more amplified and needed. I think once the times require us to become more embodied, more conscious, we will actually do it. So I guess this is one of those peaks in which more and more, especially women. It's funny that you mentioned men because I do work with a few men, but very little.
Mhm.
I think women are somehow more attracted into also expressing this and coming publicly and looking for each other and connecting with each other because we've been erased for so long from
Yes.
spirituality, all the systems, like we were ghosted, so to speak. And now we are coming back, basically. I mean, the divine feminine is coming back through us. The knowledge that our foremothers had is coming back through us. And all the suppression, oppression, and so on, in my experience, it's coming to the surface to finally be like fully integrated and forgiven. Because if we keep dragging this with us, we won't be able to move further, embody in courage and power, because there will always be this friction against the masculine, which we don't want anymore.
Yes. Oh man, I hear that. I've been personally working on sacred union within myself, which is getting better and better. But I've got to tell you, like, there were just years there where even like the idea of I've never actually met a divine masculine literally. Like the energy of Yeshua, that I can work with, but like I've actually never met in embodiment a divine masculine man. Like it's always this distortion. I mean, there's aspects of it, but yeah, just so then how do I trust that even in myself, right? So it's like doing all of this clearing around that. Oh my goodness gracious. And then finally beginning. And I'm still in my moved past infancy, but this is something I'm still very much in the process of.
Yes, and I do believe that it's an ongoing process at this time. I feel that astrologically, energetically, like all these cycles and influences are supporting us as women to clear this relationship with the masculine. And it's natural to mistrust the masculine. And it starts within, like you said, because if we have no clarity in our inner union, we will keep attracting relationships and mirrors that show us what's discordant, what's not in alignment with ourselves. That's why I believe that in our mission as women rising, so to speak, it's essential to heal, integrate, and forgive the masculine, because that's what will attract in our life men that are also contributing to healing and evolving and integrating these wounds and go from the suppressor and the oppressor to the provider, and not in a materialistic way like it's often misunderstood, which is not a problem. Men can provide if they wish, women can have their independence if they wish, that's not an issue. But it's a protective energy that we all need collectively, because we see what there's chaos, because these two energies, in my opinion, are very much out of balance and very much pitted against each other.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Now, working with yourself, something that would be fun to share is a lot of us come to this healing work a little bit later in life, but this is something that you've actually been steeped in for a lifetime. Like, so maybe
Yes.
sharing a little bit of your origin story, and then we can circle back to this too. Just like,
Yes.
yeah, tell me about your
So
growing
I grew
up.
up in in Romania, post-communist Romania. I was born just a bit before, a couple of years before the Romanian Revolution, which took us out from many years of communist oppressive regime, in a family of intellectual, spiritual people, which was a big no-no. It was not allowed. So they went through a lot of challenges in order to keep true to who they were, to keep the traditions going, and so on. So I grew up, first of all, with this euphoria of freedom, which is something that you don't get for a long time. So witnessing that transition from a harsh communist regime into a total freedom, which that comes with other chaos, for me was a great way. I always say I'm a transition girl because I've experienced all these transitions. But coming into a family that from the first day, and when I say the first day, literally, like they waited for me at home with a bath, with gold and flowers to welcome me on earth, like really quirky things that people in that time were not doing. Now I feel sorry somehow that I didn't ask them exactly, hey, where did you get these ideas? I just thought it's normal and everybody does it, until at one point when I realized it's not. It
Mhm.
was not at the time. But yeah, it was quite a unique environment. My grandpa was a writer and a philosopher, a psychologist. He was really connected to nature, and he really wanted to plant seeds into us as children and make us curious and open. My grandma was very much into cyclical living and very feminine. She didn't speak how we speak nowadays about feminine energy and all these terms, but the way she was leading by example, like she was making all these potions out of plants, she had all these rituals with from steams, vaginal steams to baths with herbs and stuff. And yeah, when this became popular, I was like, oh, my granny was just doing this with no, not making it look like something wow. It was just normal,
Yeah.
everyday things. And I think part of the luck was like an extended family, great grandmothers, aunts, everybody kept showing different things, like being immersed into this, and people were practicing in their own way, not telling me, yeah, we have to go and hug trees, but the whole family was going and hugging trees to ground, or foraging while talking to plants and asking for permission and stuff like this. So basically they made us believe that this is how it is. So I had no doubt until I became a teenager, and I believe naturally we go a bit astray from what we
Mhm.
are used to. And I think that's a normal thing to find our independence and our way. So I went a bit in the opposite direction, looking a bit into the more dark part of spirituality, more occultism. Then I realized it's not for me, and why we practice more yeah, kindness for all based spirituality and sort of magic, because they were also Orthodox Christians, but not dogmatic. So they made me see this. They were not calling it Christ consciousness, but they always said it's a metaphor for energetics, for
Yes.
frequency. I didn't understand at the time, but growing up, these seeds from them kept popping, and I was like, oh, they were smart, you know. They knew I can't understand as a child, but at one point these things will sprout, and I will be in situations in which I will retrieve information from these seeds and carve my own path. So I realized I was very lucky. Plus, there was no aggressivity. I mean, we had our own issues. It's not a perfect family. My father left when I was very young, so I grew up with a stepdad, which was great. He was a great man, but I had my own things to heal. School kind of set me back a lot. That's why I'm educating alternatively my daughters, and I think that the schooling system needs a whole reform
Yeah,
because
agreed.
most of my healing came from what happened to me in school. It was like, okay, there are some issues there. But yes, this made me not doubt spirituality. Not, I had my dark nights of the soul. I went through addiction patch. So I had my own setbacks and challenges, but I think they came to show me how to practice what I preach,
Yeah.
to take all these tools and finally make them mine, not only something that I have learned, but something that I embodied. And
Yeah.
this comes together with my nomadic life because, yeah, I had a vision when I was 6. I saw an encyclopedia with some pictures from India, and I told my grandparents, I'm going to go there. Whenever I get the chance, I'm going there. And my grandpa was always fun, inquisitive, and he was like, "Tell me what attracts you there, and why do you say that?" And whatever I told him, he said that's probably a past life connection, and you should keep it open and see what comes for you. And of course, soon enough, I dropped out of my first university, and I left to India, like very much on the hippie trail. And that has been a soul coming. I realized that these callings are not random, that there has been a big initiation for me there because I was very shy, very fearful. I got hypochondria that was pretty keeping me from not doing what I love and what I want to into this calling of
Mhm.
seeing and feeling this country, something will change in me. And that's what it was like. All my fears got alchemized. I realized that the power is within and
Yeah.
not without. And yeah, that's how I started my nomadic parkour, so to speak, but each destination being a calling, an initiation. Like everywhere, I either learned from the people, or the earth itself was calling me, or I met my partner, or I conceived my daughters. Like every step of the way somehow came with one more piece of the puzzle. So I do believe in life as an initiation journey, no
Yeah.
matter if you travel to other countries or not, but each step of it, it's an initiation journey. And I do believe my childhood, totally immersed in spirituality, made me take this very, very seriously.
Yeah. Well, this is incredible. So when you were in India, the beginning of this, you were fairly young because you said university. So
Yes,
how old?
20.
You were 20.
Yes.
That's amazing that's amazing to really be like, okay, I'm going to start. Because the way that I would put what you're doing is following the next aligned action step and the next aligned action step, like just showing up for spirit and going where you're led. Like
Yes.
that's saying the same thing that you are. And then, yeah. But that's beautiful that it started so soon.
Yes, and I do believe that their support and my family cultivating this curiosity. And I mean, they wanted me to be very academic, so it went a bit against their their expectations in a way. But in the same time, they respected the fact that they grew me up in a way that respects curiosity and exploration and listening to our own calling. So in the end, they are very proud deep inside. And they understand also my rejection eventually to the classic schooling system, because it's not like I ever stopped studying. I just refuse to give my time to a system that really didn't nurture what I needed at the time. So
Sure. Well, I think we can that, for your journey, you're probably learning more than the land from the land than you would be learning, sitting in a chair, learning how to work in an office or becoming disciplined to push paper around or something.
yeah, and it's not my calling, definitely not.
Yeah.
So then I had to honor that. And at times, yeah, it comes with the challenge of upholding your decisions, staying true
Mhm.
to your values, because there's a lot of peer pressure or societal pressure, especially after becoming a parent. It was like, oh, no schooling system, no classic schooling system, and people tend to judge all these decisions. But I believe that it's a way of practicing what we preach and also giving a permission slip to others, because
Yeah.
some might be triggered or judge or say, what are you doing? You need to be in this classical system, or you need to have a job or this. But in the same time, a lot of people wish to break the mold and break the
Yeah.
cage. And the more of us do it and show up doing it, even if we are a bit afraid or resistant, the more we give permission to others to also
Yeah.
break out of the norms, so to speak.
Well, it's really reminding me. So, like, I love learning about like the early Christians. So, like the Essenes and like Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, like that whole. I love that. Um, And there's like a handful of channeled books that I've read about that. Like there's one about Anna, grandmother of Jesus, but like it sounds like
Yeah.
you're doing what they were doing, which is like traveling to different mystery schools. I mean, they were calling it mystery school, but you travel to the land. I mean, the mystery school is in the land.
Yes.
So you're doing it. You're doing the pilgrimage. You're doing the thing. It's very cool that that's the
Yeah,
way
and it
that
took
things
me
have
a long
unfolded.
time to realize. Exactly. I mean, I had I think my first like land regression, like feeling information from the land. I didn't
Yeah.
even know for a long time that that's how it's called in my childhood. And for a long time, I was like, is this my imagination? Is this really happening? And as I said, having a family that didn't deem myself um, crazy or like having imaginary friends really helped. In the same time, I had to go into society through school and things like this, which I remember clearly how it dimmed my connection with all of this. My grandparents kept saying that I have a higher self that protects me all the time. So I was in contact with like this purple silhouette that had a woman's voice. And around first grade or second grade, they called my grandmother to school, telling her that I'm going around class talking by myself. And I remember my grandma calling me home and somehow, in an age appropriate way, I mean, not scaring me, but telling me that I can't go around talking to my higher self or spirits anymore because, yeah, it's not a good looking class. And then I remember this lady kind of saying that she will always be there, but not in a perceivable form. And then I totally forgot about it for many years until a psychedelic experience brought her back completely with this whole set of memories. And I was like, oh, that was it, that was real. That was not imagination. And the fact that I had to go out into society, and my grandpa tried to explain that to me, will make my capacity smaller, like to close itself, because it's not so accepted in society.
Yeah.
So I think now by showing this, by going out and hugging trees, I was talking today with a friend, by practicing openly, by talking about these things, we bring it in the field, and more people will do it without feeling shy, crazy,
Yeah.
or
There's an energy more up now of being safe. Like, I think that there in the past, like, it wasn't safe to, this is how you get burned and buried and stoned and all of the
exactly.
other things. So I think that but there's an energy around it now because there are so many more people that are awake and waking up to this that it's like that your knowledge now is invaluable.
Yes, and I do believe that the more we pass this like as normal as being like until now it was a career pursuit and all these material things, and we come to the realization of more consciousness, more frequency first than material first, more age of Aquarius based
Mhm.
systems, the more it becomes the reality, like the energetic matrix, or how we want to call it, that we operate within. Because ultimately, I do feel that that's what we do. We interact with this infinite field, consciousness, God, however we want to call it. And through our own frequency, which is through emotions and body. That's why I am into embodied spirituality, grounded spirituality, because if we are just floating around, which is beautiful, and it can be great in our recovery process and remembrance process, but if we don't bring this into the body, into the human experience to do better, to bring change, to bring harmonious change into the field here on earth, then I think we give away an opportunity to really anchor change here. And I think it's very much needed because we see, I mean, we can't ignore. There's a lot of toxicity in the spiritual niche about bypassing certain things and, oh, I'm closing my eyes to this issue, and meditating my way away. And I do not resonate with this. We have to hold awareness. This doesn't mean walking depressed or giving my power to fear all day because of what's happening in the world, but increasing my capacity to hold in compassion what's going on and root my actions into the wish for change. And yeah, with every opportunity I have, be that change, because otherwise, yeah, feels a bit on the edge.
I absolutely, absolutely agree with you 100,000 million%. There is a level of, though, you had mentioned the word bypass, but there's a level here of it's not possible to anchor light like that. It's not possible to be that grounded until we each individually are willing to address and look at our full spectrum of stuff. Because then when we've harmonized that, when we're able to look at that, then everything else is beautiful. Like there is no not perfect moment. Now how can we anchor light and whatever? There isn't that judgment and or clinging, or it needs to be this, or whatever. We just have the ability to anchor the light um, into the land.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
there's a lot of pre-work. There's a lot of
Yeah,
ugly, non-Instagrammable work that happens before.
exactly. Yeah, that's the deep, the inner work, the
Mhm.
taking all the things out, the shadow work. And the thing is that also not to fall into the loop of ongoing healing, because as you said, it is perfect and we are perfect beings. And I do believe we come here as sparks of soul that, yeah, have the greatest potential.
Mhm.
But to know that even if this ongoing process of deprogramming and healing, and our generation maybe won't see the full change,
Probably.
but we can hold space for it while we are also healing. We
Mhm.
can share with others while we are also healing. We can share our art. We can keep creating. We do not have to withdraw. Of course, there are periods of ups and downs, but I mean, not always find it as a I'm healing, I'm not going to share my wisdom, or because that also can become an excuse. And we need us to step into our power and share what we are going through, so others can go through their process. That's what I truly believe.
Well, and to share just the ups and downs of it a little bit out in public too, because it gives people permission to be able to go through what they're going through and like not be afraid. Like there is no perfection, right? So it's like, and
Yeah.
what we would be like, this is my highest moment, my highest perfection, like several, like a year or even a month from now might not be the case anymore because things have shifted and now it's something else. Where so, to just be along for the ride and the morphing, changing journey is pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And accept this cyclic movement of life,
Yeah,
because yeah,
yeah,
we tend to aim for the highs while trying to quickly go through the lows, which I think
yeah,
the lower we can go, because in energetics what I perceive, it's not like here on earth the bad and the wrong and the good and
yeah.
the it's a spectrum of frequencies, and it's up to us to what frequencies we attune,
Mhm.
But of course, understanding, like for example, anger, we have a tendency to push it away. And for example, for women, we are hysterical. You can't be like this in public. You can't be too much. But actually, it's such an alchemizing emotion that comes with the root of shame, of guilt, of so many other things. So just toning down or diluting this, it's not okay because they are negative or because you don't do this in public. No, I think what we have to do is to understand that we all go male, female through this spectrum of emotions and frequencies and ups and downs in life. And self mastery and the spiritual journey, it's ultimately how you navigate this, how
Mhm.
you respond to this. It's life happening to you or for you. Are you taking the victimhood part out of it, or you're going for the lesson, the initiation, the fun? I mean, what's beyond that challenge? And of course, I'm allowed to be frustrated if something goes wrong. I'm allowed to be, have my own lady tantrum if things don't go my way, but I'm not gonna dwell there, and I'm not gonna make it part of my identity. I'm gonna take the
Right.
lesson and move further. And
Yeah.
I think that's a proactive approach
Yeah.
to how life unfolds for us. Because if we expect a perfect life, we're gonna be disappointed. If
Yeah.
we just cherry pick the moments we like and so on, again, it won't have its fullness. It's how can I
Mhm.
appreciate the best moment if I have no idea what the lowest moment in my life is? So
Oh,
that's
yes.
earth school for me.
Earth School. Yes, 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 and yes. So, share with me, when did you begin teaching your mystery school, or when did you pull that together? And tell me about that, because you just seem like you'd be such a fascinating, wonderful teacher. Also, bringing the energy of the land from all different places. Like, it's just so cool.
Thanks. So it all started around the pandemic time.
Okay.
So spirituality, as I said, it's always been part of my life. I've been part of different events and things happening in back in my home country, in Europe in general. So I was pretty involved in transformational festivals and all sorts of things like this. So I've been in all sorts of healing events and seeing the movement moving, growing. But I always had this resistance that spiritual people shouldn't transform it in a business and so on. So I went more in other directions. Like I had my own nomadic shop with things I was creating around the world with my partner and selling them at festivals and fairs around Europe. I was a fashion stylist, funnily enough, for magazines back in the day when they were still a thing. I did all sorts of other things, like event organizer and so on. And during the pandemic, when our events didn't happen anymore, I offered some Reiki sessions to people that I knew. And during one of those Reiki sessions, I had this full guidance that I have to offer my own energy work method. But it was quite hard because I was like, who I am, what I'm gonna do with this. I can't just come and start saying, hey, I'm offering this. And then I was like, okay, I have to do it. And I wanna know intuitively, let me know what's going on. And I started offering these sessions, and some former mentors and people that I really trust that have experience and years of practice and stuff offered to take these sessions, and they encouraged me to go on with my pursuit. So my membership took shape from it, which is like the entry level to the mystery school. I have these two spaces. The membership is for those that are at the beginning or still have resistance in their spiritual journey, or just discovering, just came out of the dark night of the soul, something like this. And the mystery school, it's more in depth. You already took your spiritual journey very fruitful into exploring it, and we go deep through spirit
Mhm.
initiation and sacred wound healing and all of this, and everything was very much organic. So yeah, it's also my business, and what I do, it came together beautifully to be um, doing this as my business as well. But it was more of a deep inner calling, and I'm very much into sisterhood, and healing the sacred wounds has been essential to my path, and the sisterhood wound was very profound for me. Though I
Mhm.
had a group of friends since forever, and we are yeah, we grew up together and like this, but many layers got peeled
Mm.
off through this membership, through this mystery school. So I do believe we are anchoring this. I don't know how it's called in English, but in Romania, we used to have these meetings of women, like sort of red tents, but on different
Yeah.
subjects. Sometimes they were cooking together, sometimes they
Hmm.
were helping another woman go through certain things. And I do believe we need this back into our society. We need the rites of passage.
Yeah.
And that's how my spaces came to be, a lot for the need of community, but also the guidance that I can provide. And I don't believe in that hierarchical teaching thing, that
Yes.
like
Yes.
masculine paradigm, pyramids sort of thing, but more we are co-creating this experience. And I'm
Mhm.
part of others women's spaces and so on and so forth. So we are intersecting all these communities, and some are into the leader role and they bring the communities together. Some are guides in certain aspects. I believe that everybody has their own frequency role into this movement.
Whatever vibe you're on, I'm on the same vibe because eventually, like, I would love to have a space with just healers, and there's like this equity where we're all working together, and I think of it as like if you had the person you were helping was in the middle, you've got your everybody's around and it's like, okay, you're really good at this and now you do it. And you're really good at this and you do it. But we're all holding the space for each other to help one another to help whatever the situation is. I mean, it's incredible
Yes,
too
yes.
because we have the internet and like energy doesn't have bounds, so we can do this work online as well, which is just incredible. I would love to eventually one day be in person because that sounds amazing, but just like working and finding each other online and being able to help, I don't know. We can do this for the land, we can do it for the
Yeah.
earth. It's
Yeah,
yeah.
and for example, the grid work that I do, and connecting with the earth grids and the ley lines, the
Hmm.
water grids as well. More and more, I've been called in the past months. What came through me, it's something called frequency architecture. I saw it mentioned after it came strongly through me, and I know that that's how the field comes. But what I do believe is that we are both remembering and also creating a new this way of working with frequency. And when I keep hearing frequency architects, it's because when we intentionally use these frequencies to create our life, that's what we do. When I say hold space, it's because I open these frequencies so the space can hold us. It's not like,
Yeah.
because people are like, I don't understand this expression. It's like an energetic basket, bed, blanket, however you want to call it, holding us together, you know? And the
Yeah.
more we experience this, I think the more tangible it becomes, like in our reality.
Well, and there's more and more of us remembering too, like waking up and like, yeah, it's really cool.
Yes. And I do believe it comes with radical self-responsibility.
Yeah.
So we got to take responsibility for our journeys and yeah, go for it, you know, like not find excuses, because as humans we are so good at coming back in our comfort zones into like falling into old patterns. And it's like when we have
Yeah.
this community, when we have each other, it's like, hey, Tania, I'm here. You're not falling off track. Frida, we are here, you know, we are doing it. And I think that's an essential part, and what they wanted through patriarchy to dismantle, because
Yes.
women naturally hold spaces and things together. And it's dangerous when people are united for the establishment and the status quo.
Well,
So
we are at that fall of the patriarchy. Oh, I feel it in my bones, even though it looks really ugly outside here in America at the moment. It's like, oh, no, no, no. I
yes,
don't know how
Europe,
long it's
it's
going to take, but it's not going to
yeah.
take here much longer.
Yeah, I think Europe it's doing a great job at like minimizing how it looks from outside, because
Okay.
once you're immersed in it, there's a lot of things that can go from here.
Mm.
And it starts with a lot of patriarchal oppressive systems and really just dogmatic things. And again, I have nothing against religion. People are free to choose, as long as you're not shoving your dogma down my throat and you make me be, you know, the one that is in the wrong just because of freedom of expression and stuff
Right.
like this. I'm not standing for that.
Yes.
So here in Europe also we have a lot of outdated old school system and old men that keep things in control. And somehow I think it's time also to not be afraid to speak about this as women, and also about the fact that once people get in power, they change their vibe. Because I saw also people with great intentions and women that everybody was happy, oh, they are finally in power. And after a few months there, the whole frequency changes. So I don't believe it's about the people that go in there, it's about the whole system, because I still have to see somebody that got in a position of power and didn't change with the whole thing again. And we are back into
Mhm.
square one, kind of thing.
Well, that's
So I
that's back to
believe in.
what you were saying though earlier is about doing your own work and being deeply rooted and grounded because it isn't about the human, it's about bringing through God through the expression of the
Yes.
channel. So when and that's through the grounding, that's through the anchoring, right? So it's like
Yeah.
then that comes through. This isn't about us.
Yeah, no, I think it's about the whole, and we are channels. Like
Hmm.
I see how I see ourselves in this when I do my energy work sessions and stuff. It's like these electromagnetic circuits that
Hmm.
communicate between each other, communicate with the earth, communicate with the sun, and all the cycles, the systems, if you wish, including astrology and stuff. It depends on us how much power we give to it,
Hmm.
but we can
Yeah.
interact with it in the energetic. So once we realize what power we have in this spiritual embodiment, and I don't say power because it has this connotation of like greediness, grabbing power. No, the power of truly creating, harmonizing. And I do believe that as portals between the seen and the unseen, and not only through physical birth, because again, people get stuck there. We birth project, we birth new
Yeah.
paradigms, we
Yeah.
birth a lot of things, like the child part, it's only one physical part, which is awesome as well. But it's much more than that. And I think that by blocking us from genuinely birthing these things, we are more easy to control, and the whole humanity is easier to control because, yeah, the unbounded, fierce woman, it's not there to put
Yeah.
things in order of it.
Watch out.
Like the big mama coming now.
Oh my gosh, it's reminding me, I had my first hot flash maybe like, I don't know, 5 months ago or something like that. And like when I had that, I was like, holy shit. I was like, if we could just channel the power. It felt a lot like when I first started channeling. I was like, if we could just channel a whole bunch of this energy, like get a bunch of perimenopausal women together, we'll change the world.
Exactly, exactly. And it's cool that you mentioned this because that's one of the phases of the womanhood that it's the most rejected because it's the most feared by patriarchy. And the the masculine based systems, that's when you enter the crone, the wise woman, and we embody it. It's not like we don't have access to it at different stages of our life, but once we properly embody it in our lifetime, that's juicy. Like my daughters keep saying zesty. That's, the mama you want to put your head on her chest and be there in her wisdom, in her protection. And I am so for the reclamation of the perimenopause, the menopause, the women talking about it, the taking the hot flashes and alchemizing them into,
Mhm.
throwing, I don't know how it's in the States, but in Eastern Europe, they throw a shoe at you or something because these people in power need a mama shoe
Mhm.
over their head, that type of energy. And by accepting that we go through these phases, and it's beautiful, I have my white hair coming and all these things that society tells you have to start either hiding or running from, or I don't know, putting something. Again, it's free will, but
Mhm.
I think that you need to be comfortable, us as women, with our phases and claim them and own them and not be afraid of them. They should be afraid of our phases.
Right there with you. I'm genuinely excited for the future. I'm excited for your daughters and what they're coming into in a lot of ways because there's just more and more and more space. Like the women that came before us created the amount of space that we have now, which is a lot for our age historically. And just so like thinking about what they're going to have and what you're creating for them, it's like it's just more and more and more expansive. Truly. It's
Yes, yes.
amazing.
That's one thing I really appreciate on my mother side lineage, that they went like I met my great grandmother, my grandmother, my mom. So I had them all alive for a long time until recently. And I know the hardships my great grandmother that was born in 23 went through, and then my grandmother born in the 50s, and then my mom, they were teenage moms and so on. But each one of them did her part in passing less hardship, less pain, and more of what they've learned through their pain. That
Mhm.
at times was atrocious, like the lack of freedom, the lack of access to certain things, or to decide for themselves. I mean, basically, my great grandmother was owned between her dad and then her husband, though she loved her husband and everything, but it was not a good way of being.
Mhm.
So I understand so much how they contributed for me to be able to speak today with you, to be able to, have my own things and so on. In the same time, I think that this is the time for us to truly live what keeps us, like all this pain, because for a while I wanted to revenge them, like the energy of
Yeah.
the feminine. I wanted to reject the masculine. I'm the independent woman that does only this. I don't care if I'm going to be single forever and all this stuff, which again, it doesn't matter the gender or sexual preferences. It's a dynamic with the masculine, feminine, in my case, reflected in my own relationship. But I want to integrate this and not pass it as much as possible to my daughters or to the future generations, because hating and being in a revenge type of energy will just perpetuate this wounding, and it will make the masculine weaker, and we don't want this.
No, not
In
at
a way, I
all.
know why I have two daughters, but I do believe that we need to put our attention also on the masculine through our partners, through our brothers, through our fathers, through however it comes to us. Because yeah, bringing this balance, it's important, and not going into war, not to perpetuate the war. Like, we want revenge from the men, we want them all closed or somewhere. No, we want them to heal, and we want them to understand.
Mhm. Yeah, and definitely creating the space for that. Yeah, which is where we are now. And yeah. And I can see it with my own husband. The two of us, like we've been together 18 years, but over the years working consciously
Yeah,
on this, it gets better and better and better and better. And there's better isn't the right word, more expansive.
exactly.
Hmm. Yeah.
Exactly. Same with
Yeah.
my partner. We are now almost 13 years together, and we didn't come like fully healed or anything into the relationship, but both of us willing to calibrate to each
Hmm.
other's evolution, and, like you say, expand the space we hold for each other and
Hmm.
evolve together, because it's
Yeah.
very easy to fall out, and it's very easy to reject people, especially in a romantic type of relationship. What I think it's harder is to decide to evolve together
Yeah.
and through the challenges to form a stronger bond and transparency and all that comes with a harmonious relationship.
Yeah. This has just been a delightful conversation.
Yeah.
Just thank you so much, Tanya, for coming. It's just wonderful.
Thank
It's a
you for
it's a
having me.
it's beautiful to meet another sister on the path and yeah.
Yes, and I hope one day we can meet in person. I
Yeah.
so envision people coming together in person circles as well. But until then, yeah, the internet for me, I know it's downsides, but I'm so grateful that we can connect, we can discover, we can explore together
Yeah.
online.
And well, and something, your posts always have a lot of frequency in them where I'm like, it's like an exhale. So yeah,
Thank you.
share with folks what your handles are.
Yes, so people can find me on Facebook and Instagram mainly. On Facebook, I'm Tania Teodor. It's simple. The name that will be in the podcast, you can just type it in and you'll find me. And the handle on Instagram is tania.purplepirate because in the frequency world, I'm very purple. And I
Okay.
always consider myself a pirate navigating these times, these frequencies. So I kept it like this since many years.
Oh my God, I love that. That's really cute. And
Yeah,
what
well,
is,
playfulness is important and humor, I think, to bring it into our journey as well, because
yes,
we can get
definitely.
very serious in the healing pursuit. And my grandpa was always, don't forget to have fun in the
Yeah.
whole thing. So since last year, I'm so into bringing playfulness and humor back into my life because I was a bit too serious, let's say.
I have a lot of fairy energy that runs through me, and but I also have a tendency to get very serious, and then it's like I get tweaked or like they trip me, and I'm like, okay, yes, let me just remind myself to not take life so ding dong seriously. Yeah. And then tell me the name of your mystery school.
The mystery school, it's called, I tuned in for a name, but it didn't come with a single name like this, but it's the Feminine Mystery Sacred School. And I do have a website, taniateodor.com, and there are the details about all my stuff because I have these spaces that are long-term commitments, but I have also little courses, little activations, like an upcoming parenting masterclass in November. So little things like this so people can see there.
All of this will also be linked in the show notes so folks can find you through that. Thank you so much for joining me. And I wanted to tell you that I love you, God, Universe, Source loves you, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.